Hey guys, Tyler here. So one of the biggest criticisms of Star Trek has to do not with the aliens, the technology, or anything like that. No, instead, lots of people, including many fans, find Trek's humans to be, in a word, unrealistic. This is particularly true of the Next Generation era shows from the 90s. In keeping with Gene Roddenberry's vision of a utopian future, humans in Trek's 24th century are more empathetic, intellectually curious, and quicker to resolve conflicts, at least among themselves. In fact, Roddenberry didn't even want the TNG crew to engage in interpersonal conflict, period, though the writers would later relax this rule. In any event, Earth's egalitarian, quasi-post-scarcity society in Star Trek has often been scrutinized, not just for economic reasons, but cultural reasons as well. Humans will never be this perfect, you'll often hear people say. But what is my take on this? Are Star Trek's humans too perfect in an unreachable sense? And even if they are, how close could we get to a society like their own? Let's find out. Before we go any further, I'd like to take a moment to talk to you about today's sponsor, me. Do you like merchandise? If so, head on over to the new and improved OrangeRiver merch store. That's right, OrangeRiver is now officially on Spreadshop. I've got a bunch of awesome new designs, including All the Way Down,
All the Way,
Vape God, Tally, aka Best Girl.
it was totally worth it.
And what is perhaps my greatest design yet,
I love being married to my husband.
plus I've got some of my classic designs like OrangeRiver Arrowhead, N7, Metroid, Mycelial Network,
The mycelial network is like
Mycelial Network, and more. And there are even some new products like OrangeRiver hats. That's right, OrangeRiver hats now exist. Visit the link in the description to get discounts and other special deals on items from my store. Now, back to the video. I made a video a while back giving my take on how we characterize Star Trek's economy. I won't particularly focus on the definitions of words like communist or socialist in this video, but I do want to examine how Trek humans could have achieved their utopian society. Utopia is a goal many individuals have imagined and groups have chased throughout history, and how utopia is defined has also changed quite a bit. In the 1771 novel The Year 2440 by Louis-Sébastien Mercier, the author imagined a far future version of France free of religion and war. But notably, this future is also explicitly not democratic, with France governed by a philosopher king, and women still fill traditional gender roles. Coffee and tea are also outlawed, and much of the literature of the past has been willingly destroyed for its supposed immorality. The novel was written 18 years before the French Revolution, but for the time it was incredibly progressive, reflecting much of the secular fervor of the Enlightenment. Similarly, when Roddenberry was world-building for Star Trek: The Next Generation, he used it as a vehicle for his ideas about how humans would have evolved by the 24th century. This is why, in the first 2 seasons of TNG, in which Roddenberry had more of a heavy hand in the writing process, conflict hardly exists between the human members of the Enterprise crew, only with outsiders. But even after Roddenberry took a step back and the likes of Rick Berman, Ronald D. Moore, and Brandon Braga took over creatively, humans were still written to act a certain way. Throughout 90s Trek, humans in the future, even if they do have interpersonal conflict, eventually become the bigger person and come to an understanding with their peers. If real life worked like this, I think we can all agree that the world would be a better place, but unfortunately, that is not the world that we live in.
If everybody fried their food, there would be no war.
To many, Trek's humans are so culturally different from the way we do things in the present that they're almost more evolved in a biological sense, like they're a different species. For as much grief as Q gives Picard and company in Encounter at Farpoint for how much of a savage child race humans have always been, honestly, Picard is right. They have come a long way. even since our present day. But given the chaos of our current society,
This is Chaos Garage.
Chaos is my friend with benefits.
what a long way that is. Now, this is not to say that there aren't defenders of Trek's depiction of humans beyond the suspension of disbelief in fiction. But first, some additional context. Because it's been repeatedly established that Earth's economy in the future is different from our present free market model, as it's literally called the New World Economy, it's only natural that humans' social mores would have also changed over time. I'm not just talking about intra-human bigotry going by the wayside or humans no longer enslaving animals for food purposes, but also how humans carry themselves. Characters like Jean-Luc Picard and Jake Sisko describe how humans partake in a massive cultural project to improve themselves and their communities rather than pursuing greed and materialistic possessions. This may seem wide-eyed and optimistic, and indeed it does run contrary to the idea that greed is in our nature. But there are some people who do believe that we can change our nature and that in fact our nature is determined by our environment. This is part of the basis of a post-scarcity future in the first place. Many will point out that most of the scarcity we have today is already artificial, and that it's a matter of political courage that would enable us to achieve a fair distribution of resources. So we have two moving parts to this equation. Humans in Star Trek are not only technologically capable of fostering a quasi-post-scarcity society, but they're also culturally primed to maintain it. By the way, I also want to interject, I keep saying quasi-post-scarcity because in fact dilithium, the element that forms the backbone of much of Starfleet and the Federation's operations, is a finite resource. But domestically on Earth, things like poverty and hunger have been eliminated. Either way, the second part of the equation, the cultural maintaining of utopia, is just as, if not even more important, especially when the Federation's utopian ideals are tested by crises like the Dominion War. But I also think it's worth noting that this humanist philosophy seems to be embraced by everyone on Earth, at least as far as on-screen evidence has indicated. Pretty much all the individuals who have rejected this utopian philosophy live off-world and even outside the Federation as a whole. To me, this suggests one of two things. Either all 9 billion humans on Earth in the 23rd and 24th centuries have domestically embraced this new system, or the system is enforced by an authoritarian central government that quashes all dissent. I've historically argued against efforts to characterize Star Trek's United Earth as some dystopian nightmare, but the truth is, in real life, a lot of people think this is the only way world government would work. I still think that in-universe, this dystopian explanation is not correct. The point of all these characters making proclamations about how humans have evolved is, to me, an indication that they have evolved. Or, at the very least, the general populace supports the United Earth regime's efforts to maintain an egalitarian economic system. Not taking such statements at face value feels like an unnecessary complication, a conspiracy theory promoted by those who want to undermine the optimistic messaging of Star Trek. However, I am sympathetic to the idea that in real life, humans might be psychologically incapable of maintaining, long-term, a system as equitable as Trek's near-post-scarcity society. While human nature may be malleable since much of our behavior is determined by our environment, at the end of the day, we're still animals. Evolution is and always has been a matter of competition, and the survival of Homo sapiens over our other hominid cousins is in large part thought to be the result of our genocide of them, in addition to other factors like climate change. The preponderance of evidence to this point in human history shows that we are savage by nature. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who notably was a fan of Star Trek, said that the arc of history bends towards justice. But these days, I think it's becoming clear that this may not be true. History happens in cycles. We've gone through countless periods of peace and war, periods of relative abundance and relative inequality. While many on the Marxian side of the political spectrum believe that we can break out of this cycle, up to this point, efforts to do so have not been permanent. Even if you ascribe these failures to outside factors, they still happened. This is not to say, of course, that we shouldn't improve people's lives. Lifting people out of poverty and providing them a robust education and the like can go a long way to helping us become an interplanetary and eventually interstellar species, which is something I do think is in our best interest. But as many people have pointed out, If we invented something like Star Trek's replicator in real life, the rich would probably limit access to it. It is possible, I'll admit, that there was some authoritarian period in Trek's timeline where anyone who disagreed with Earth's humanist political project was exiled. We don't know everything about Earth's history. Interestingly, the Lower Decks episode Shades of Green depicts the exodus of Targalis 9's capitalist elite after that planet's adoption of Federation replicator technology while the rest of the planet celebrates.
Damn, look at all this stuff. Dumb old currency sure does take up a lot of space.
You finished converting the stock exchange into an animal hospital?
Yeah, smells a lot better in there now, believe it or not. Plus, they're using all the old briefcases as litter boxes.
Maybe after poverty was abolished on Earth, a similar exodus of our capitalist elite happened. So I think Trek's message is that a more just society can be maintained if enough people put their minds to it. Again, I do think that in real life it's possible that even a society such as this, absent an authoritarian regime, would factionalize and artificial scarcity would come back. And to be clear, I'm not saying I think that authoritarianism is good, but in a free society there will naturally always be conservative and progressive forces. Because the moment you no longer feel the need to fight for good things, you've already kind of lost. So maybe humans are incapable of creating and maintaining a utopia. I hope I'm wrong. So, what was the point of this video? Well, I think conversations about the realism and relatability of Star Trek's humans are fun and important to have, given how much Trek has tried to reflect real-world political issues. Whether or not Trek humans' more moral character is believable or not is up to you. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And Trek humans' more compassionate nature does serve functionally to inspire viewers to approach situations and people in their lives more thoughtfully, so that we can strive to create a better tomorrow. But whether or not we're capable of doing the same is up to us. And maybe Trek's depiction of the future isn't so unbelievable after all, since there have been multiple events throughout the franchise that have tested just how committed Earth is to maintaining its utopian society. I think Quark's take on humans is pretty eye-opening given the struggles the Federation faces during the Dominion War.
Let me tell you something about humans, nephew. They're a wonderful, friendly people, as long as their bellies are full and their holosuites are working. But take away their creature comforts, deprive them of food, sleep, sonic showers, put their lives in jeopardy over an extended period of time, and those same friendly, intelligent, wonderful people will become as nasty and as violent as the most bloodthirsty Klingon.
In any event, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a thumbs up down below and don't forget to share it. That stuff really helps me out. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to do that as well so you won't miss future uploads, and click the bell icon to receive all notifications. If you want to support my work even further, you can become a patron at patreon.com/OrangeRiver, link in the description, or become a YouTube member by clicking the join button on my channel page. By becoming a patron or member, you also get access to awesome perks like behind-the-scenes photos and videos, patron member-only polls, name in the credits, merch discounts, and more. Or you can drop a one-time super thanks or PayPal donation. All are appreciated. Links to my PayPal as well as my social media merch store are in the description too. Also, just as a reminder, I do have a second channel, OrangeRiver Plus, where I've uploaded the VODs of lots of my gaming streams, with more on the way. And in addition to some other goofy one-offs and extra behind-the-scenes content, I've officially made it my second streaming platform. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any new content. That's all I have for this week. Live long and prosper.
Erica!
Oh my god!
Erica! Can you hear me?
Dr. Azukaza? I saw you die!
I've emerged from the depths of reptilian hell to deliver a very important message!
I spoke at your funeral!
Erica! Listen very carefully. Issue 2 of Star Trek Endurance is now available for patrons and members of Orange River.
This has got to be a nightmare.
Just sign up for $2 or more at patreon.com/OrangeRiver or click the join button on Orange River's YouTube channel page. It's that simple. Even you could do it.
Wake up, Erica. Wake up!
You must inform the people, Erica. It's your duty. Erica!